Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Now, today I am joined by the amazing Jamie Keene. Jamie, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Ken. How are you?
I am doing very, very well. This is something we've been trying to make this happen for a while. Both of us have very busy lives, so trying to make it actually happen, and today is when it finally is. Now, before we talk about why you're here, Jamie, I would like for the people that don't know you to get to know you a little bit. You were named in part after the OG Scream Queen, Jamie Lee Curtis, um, which at first was an annoyance to you, but now you realize it's just like the dopest shit ever.
It is the
Um,
coolest shit. It honestly is.
You're named after Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm named after a kid in an orange over jacket that gets killed in every episode, and every horror movie guy that dies first everywhere. It's either the black dude or Kenny. If you're watching a movie and there's a black dude or a Kenny, that guy's in fucking trouble. I promise you that right now. Um, but one thing that's very important because we talk about horror, and horror is a love of mine, and we talk about the passions that we have. And one thing that you do is you are a real life superhero. You joined the United States Army after graduating in 2015 as a cyber operations specialist. And in addition to doing cyber and analyst work, you've seen plenty of things in performance of the duties that make the best looking horror films seem like they're something out of Saturday morning cartoons. So, first and foremost, not just from me, but I can speak on behalf of my family and a lot of my viewers when I say thank you for your service. Without the servicemen and women that are brave enough to go out and do what they do, cowards like me wouldn't be able to go to Wendy's and get a burger whenever the fuck I want. So I know it's easy to say, no, 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 but it is. There's no draft, there's no force. You purposely woke up and said, you know what, this is what I want to do with my life. I want to protect people. I want to keep my country safe. And whether you're left wing or right wing, guys, it doesn't matter. If one of those wings stops flapping, the eagle falls. We're all part of the same eagle. So thank you for the service that you've done for our country and you continue to do for our country because you're still helping out this younger generation of recruits and soldiers that are coming in, and you're doing your part just to get them home for the holidays too. So what got you interested in becoming a member of the armed forces?
So it's kind of a familial thing. As far back as we can go, there's been folks in my family that have joined. My grandfather, he did 37 or 38 years in the United States Navy, spent more than half of it at sea. My father, my grandfather fought in Vietnam and Korea. My dad, he did his 20 years as an MP. He was deployed to Desert Storm. On my mom's side, my grandfather was also part of the Navy, fought in Korea. And as far back as the lineage goes, from the first part of the Keene clan that arrived, we've been soldiers, sailors, fighters. We do what we have to do in order to one, provide for our family. That was something that I wanted to do. Why I joined. I want to secure a future for my family as well as myself, and two, be something bigger than myself. I wanted
Right.
to join to do something, to make something of myself. And almost it'll be 9 years come August, and I got another 11 to go after that, and then maybe I'll retire. Who knows?
Right. Well, either way, to your grandfathers, to your fathers, thank you. Again, when you're serving, it's not just you out there. Your wife, your kids, your sons, your daughters, they're all there with you in spirit, and they're worried about you coming home, and they're worried about you being safe. So, to your whole family, thank you. We really, really appreciate the service that you do. Um,
I
but
appreciate the support, sir.
when you're not being a real hero, you do love streaming. Back in 2022, you started picking up streaming again. And every October, you try to play as many horror games on stream as you can. Been a
Yep.
huge fan of horror games, Outlast, Dead Space, Doom, Resident Evil, all these games. And
Yep.
at one point, it was the Jigsaw Killer.
Oh
You changed
yeah,
that to
yeah.
you changed that to AyoooJimbo, thanks to
Yep.
Harry. So
Yep.
your
Well, it
best
was
friend
it was
popped in.
Harry, my partner manager, chat, everybody. My name has gone through the ringer so many different times, and it's just Jamie, Jim Jam, and Jimbo just kind of slipped out one day, and then somebody was like, "Hey, yo, Jimbo." I was like, "I like that," and if I try and make it big with this streaming thing, I don't want to get sued by Lionsgate. So I figured, it's time for a change. A rebrand's not necessarily a bad thing, and AyoooJimbo, the rat-like behavior keeps rolling along.
AyoooJimbo is one of the coolest names because it flows right off your tongue too. You know, how many times have it, AyoooJimbo? I could just
Yeah,
say that all day long, man.
yeah,
That's something
that's
that.
exactly how it goes.
So a good thing about this is you don't have to go far to check out his streams, to follow him on social media, because I have all his links down in the description. So make sure you're following on social media. Make sure you're subscribing so you can check out the streams and become a part of that family as well. Because believe it or not, we still have horror games that come out. So he's still going to be able to surprise you with some cool ass shit that he's going to be doing. So,
Rat Pack rolls deep. The Rat
yeah.
Pack rolls deep.
So we've talked about, some of the things that you've done in your life and how you're a hero. And I'm going to keep, you flinch every time I say it. That's why I keep saying it.
It's just
Um,
like, ah, I don't. Every time somebody's like, "Thank you for your service," it's so difficult to figure out what to say because it's I don't do this for
right.
or anything. Like
Recognition.
I do it because, well, one, I knew I would make a career out of it, and two, it's just I feel like it's something that everybody. I'm not saying we should conscript or anything. I'm just it's something that one, it's got to be done, right?
Yeah.
And if it's got to be done, I may as well do it so that other people don't have to. And then,
Right.
yeah, it just felt right. I mean,
And I agree
school,
with you.
I can go to school for for less than student loans are outlandish, so I don't
Sure.
have to deal with that. I'm getting my degree right now. My last class that I actually took was a understanding film class, so it's not
Yes.
just it's not just like, oh, plot and everything like that. It's all the devices that go into it, cinematography, sound design, everything like that. And
Mhm.
I'll save something for when we start talking about the actual.
Right.
No, I might have something to send you when we get done. Something for you
Hell
to
yeah,
read
I'm always
over.
down with that.
Yeah.
And I do want to say I agree with you. If somebody has to do it, I'm glad it's you and not me because I'm a coward. No, I'm just kidding. But no, and it's funny because my grandpa served in the Navy, and my best friends, they're a couple, Brandy and Chris. They're two of my best friends, and they both served. And it's the same thing. Like whenever they get a thank you, and I purposely, because Brandy, like I said, I work with her. She's one of my best friends, and I'm always telling people when they come in, like, "Oh yeah, she served in the army." She's like, "You mother, stop doing that." Like, but I'm proud of her. It's one of my best friends. She's like my little sister, so it's okay to be proud of the people around you. But I understand how to you guys, it's like that's not why I did this. I didn't do this for you guys to tell me thank you or to give me a discount when I go to Red Lobster. I
Oh, I
did it because it
never
was the
asked
right thing
for
for
it.
me to do.
Like I never asked for it. And some of my friends, if we go out, they're like, "Why didn't you ask for a military discount?" I'm like, "I don't want it. I didn't do it for
Right,
that." Like
right.
it makes me uncomfortable.
I get it, man. And like I said, with me having never served, I can't say how I would feel, but I know that I'm proud of you guys. I know your friends and family are proud of you. So I did want to bring a little bit of light to that because it's something I'm very proud of. The men and women that serve this country is something very, very special to me. So, well, now in order to be the Jigsaw Killer and turn into AyoooJimbo and have a part in the horror world, horror had to start for you somewhere, Jamie. So now I would like to go back to the past and talk about what got you started in the horror genre, your first horror movie, and Jamie, the first horror movie you watched was
Oh, gee, Mikey Myers, Halloween, 1978. I almost said 79. Yeah, Halloween 78 was my first by the brilliant John Carpenter.
yeah, and it's one of those movies that still to this day, we just this last year got Halloween Ends. By the time you
Halloween
guys
ends.
watched it 2 years ago, and the rights have been sold, so we are going to get more Halloween, whether it's a TV show or another film adaptation. So,
I heard they're working on a game, and I'm not sure how that's going to work with like Dead by Daylight being out,
right.
and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game that came out. It kind of flopped.
Mhm.
I'm wondering what they're going to do with it.
Give me a story mode. That's all I ask. You can do the online stuff all you want, but give me a story mode. I don't care if I'm Michael going around trying to find babysitters to kill, or if you give me the character of Lori and I got to try to protect the kids and booby trap the house, Home Alone style. I don't give a shit, but give me some type of story mode to go with. Because me personally, I'm geriatric, man. So like when it comes to the online shit, I'm like, this is cool, I guess, but give me some 007, give me some Kingdom Hearts, some Legends of Zelda, some Resident Evil, where I can go in and complete a story. That's what I want to do.
See,
When I look to say
that's
that
my
I'm
concern is like, are they gonna put you in the boots of Michael and just have you slaughter people? Like they can't reasonably do that, right?
right,
But on the other hand, a survival horror type game as, Lori or your own character and you're just dropped into the world of Haddonfield. It's an interesting concept. And hopefully something comes.
I only want to do it if I could be Busta Rhymes from Halloween Resurrection. That's the only
And
way I
you
want
just
to
want to
play.
crane kick Michael out of a window.
Yep. Yep, man. If I could get some Dangertainment, I'm in. I'm there day one. Day one, Dangertainment, baby.
Let the Dangertainment begin out.
So Halloween '78, we know that's how horror started for you, but do you remember about how old you were the first time you had seen it?
I was probably 7 or 8. I was not that old. And like my dad, shout out dad. He was a big horror guy back in the day. Like, it was Halloween night, and I was like, Dad, I want to watch something scary. And he's like, Oh yeah? I was like, Yeah, I want to watch something scary. And obviously not trying to traumatize his son. He's like, Well, what's scary but kind of tame to today's standards? Because this was like 2004, 2005. So we were starting to get into that kind of where practical effects and CGI was really starting to take off, and everything was just getting more gruesome and more blood soaked. And
Sure.
he's like, This is a good starter thing for you because it's not horribly scary. It's only like an hour and a half long, and it'll hold your attention. And I was hooked. I was
Right.
absolutely hooked. Yeah, so I couldn't have been older. I couldn't have been older than 7.
And it's a great age because I've always said, and again, guys, I am by no stretch of the imagination a therapist, and I am by no stretch of the imagination extremely intelligent when it comes to the makings of the human mind. But I've always said, for me personally, kids that watch horror at a young age are more grounded in, as long as you have education to go with it. They're more grounded in reality because they learn the difference between fantasy and reality, fact and fiction. And
Yeah.
as long as you are there to educate your children, the differences between right and wrong and how this is fake, how you can't really go hurt people. I feel like they're more grounded because they've learned these things. It's just like anything else, whether it's sex or guns or, drugs and alcohol. As long as you're responsible with what you're doing and you have the right teaching, you're not just going to go and hurt somebody. So again, just my opinion. Dr. Sledge has left the building. Um, so we know that you started it, with your dad. Dad started horror for you. And Halloween '78, like I said at the beginning, this is a very iconic movie that is still, a lot of people say the epitome of what a slasher or even a horror film is. It's marked its way in history. Not the first slasher, but probably the most iconic when it comes to a slasher film. Now, which scene would you say it was that affected you the most from Halloween?
So it I think the thing that stuck out most in my mind, especially as a kid, going back and looking at it now, is it's incredible. It's Bob going downstairs into the kitchen, sees the door open, goes and shuts it, and it's the first time we see Michael move with any sort of speed.
Mhm.
He grabs Bob, holds him up to the wall, and then just pins him to the wall and watches him, do his thing, watches the light fade. And then you get that shot from down the hallway where Bob is, somewhat in the light. Michael's completely shrouded. And he just tilts his head,
Yeah.
almost like admiring what he's done. And I was like, whoa, this guy likes this shit. He's getting off on this shit. Like, but they said it. I think it was in Halloween 2018. He's, the mind of a child and the body of an animal or something like that. Just
Yeah.
that that right there kind of cemented for me, like, wow, this dude means business. Like
Mhm.
and then right after that, posing. Um, it wasn't Nancy. It was what's her name? I can't remember her name for the life of me. I just watched the
Um,
movie like 2, 3 weeks ago.
Annie.
Annie, yeah, posing, or no, Annie was in the car. Annie got strangled in the
Okay.
car. So maybe it was Nancy posing her on the bed with Judith's tombstone. Incredible. Like, Michael's not only, brutally efficient when he does things. He doesn't drag it out, except well, in the later movies he does. But he's incredibly efficient, and he's got a sense of showmanship, which I
Yeah.
think is, that's not, you can't teach that. That's just
Right.
something that happens naturally. That's art.
Well, it's funny because my wife and I, because she's a huge Halloween fan. Like Halloween's her favorite franchise. She's a big Halloween purist. She loves it to death. And anytime we hang some of our kids is like we have our daughter. She's 3 and she's in daycare now, and she makes pictures and stuff. And every time we put them on the fridge, we always do the and then we'd look at him like we're admiring what she did. So I
Awesome.
totally get what you're coming from with that. And this movie, a lot again, I can't be the best person to talk about this film because I came into Halloween a little later in life. I started off with Child's Play, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Phantasm, and then I kind of worked my way to Halloween a little later in life. I didn't see Halloween for the first time until I was probably 11 or 12. And I was in that cynical teenage stage, and I was like, this movie's slow, and Michael Myers is boring. This is dumb. Give me Jason. He shoots harpoons and shit.
Beats
But
people with, up against a tree with a
with a
in a
sleeping bag,
sleeping bag. Yeah, like
like so, as a kid, I never got into Halloween. As an adult, I admire the franchise. I respect the franchise. And I've even said numerous times, if I was going to tell somebody, this is a movie you should watch if you want to make a great slasher, I would point them in the direction of Halloween. That's the prototypical slasher. And what that did, in difference to the other slashers that came before it, and I'm thinking, Black Christmas, Psycho, they put just as much emphasis on your villain as they did the hero. That you have that real yin and yang between Laurie and Michael that makes you really understand both of them. And to me, that's what a true slasher can do. It can
you
give
don't
you a
really,
villain, but it can make you love. Like, look at Black Christmas. You love Jess, you love the girls in the house, but all you ever see is Billy's eye. You don't give a shit about Billy. You don't learn who Norma Bates is until the end of the movie when
end of the
Norma.
movie. Yeah.
Right. So this movie really, really Halloween took that and encapsulated it and said, John Carpenter said, let's do something that nobody's ever done. And let's make our villain and our hero the same level of character. And after that, then you get your Jasons, your Freddys, your tall guys, your and I would say Texas Chainsaw came first, but obviously it was 74.
Yeah.
I've never considered that a slasher film. They go to his house.
Yeah, they do. They show up there, and I mean, trespassing is one thing, but I think, hammering and chainsawing people, that's kind of not a way to deal with that.
Yeah, I think as Texas Chainsaw went on in the franchise, I think it definitely became more slasher. The first one, if Texas Chainsaw, I think if that film came out today, it would be an A24 film. It'd be a complete art film, and nobody can ever change my mind on that. So,
I love
with
A24.
Halloween,
I love
um,
A24.
with Halloween, obviously it's a big franchise now, and it's an ever-growing franchise. At the time of recording, we just had Halloween Ends a couple years ago, but we are going to get more in the franchise. But I do want to know, which of the Halloween movies is your favorite?
Ooh, so I think of the entirety of them, right? Because I, much like your wife, I'm a Carpenter purist. If he's not involved, I don't really want it. I think out of all of them, Halloween 2018 is probably my favorite. Just because you get the time lapse of Michael becoming an older man. I think because he was 21 when he went through Haddonfield in 78. So he's 61 and he's old and gray, dead eye, and all that. You get to see how he's changed, physiologically, but he still moves and kills the same way that the shape did as a younger
Yeah,
man, right? And just the evolution of Michael from 78 to 2018, it's incredible. Plus, with all of the developments that we've had in CGI, lighting, sound design, all of that, it's incredible. Because the scene that stands out the most to me in Halloween 2018 is after Michael takes care of the two cops in the car where Dr. Sartain is. He drags him out, and he's like, say something, and Michael just stomps his head in like a pumpkin, and it's incredible. Like, it blew my mind when I saw it in theaters. I was like, yo, how are they gonna get away with this? And another thing too, that kind of freaked me out is that kids are off limits in movies.
yeah,
Kids are off
yeah.
limits, and in Halloween 2018, he mangled that kid.
That was on his way to dance class.
Yeah, and well,
Just wanted to go dancing.
the long take of him walking through the neighborhood, and he
Amazing.
stops and looks at the cradle. Like, my blood ran cold. I was like, "There's no way they do this." And he just walks out. I was like, I could feel the theater breathe a sigh of relief.
Right.
It was
And
so good.
it's so funny because I wanted to walk out of the theater during Halloween 2018, to be honest with you.
Oh man,
Which now it's one of my favorite films in the franchise. But I'm telling you right now, like, when I saw Dr. Sartain stand up with that Myers mask
The
on, I was
mask.
like, this is fucking stupid. I was like, let's get out. My wife was like, just come on, hold on. I was so angry at that point. I was like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen. Why the hell are we doing this? But
Have to
I'm with
think
you.
like Michael. You have to dress like Michael.
Yeah, stupid, stupid. But when it comes to the film, it's in my top three easily. I think it's a fantastic film that was made very well. And it's scary. It's got real emotion. You take away the stupid brother sister storyline that I was never a fan of.
Then they
I
brought
like.
it up in the movie too. They're like, oh,
I
that was
know
just a rumor. He's not
that's just a
actually his
rumor,
brother. Yeah,
because I think it's scarier to think it's just some random guy. Like
just a dude,
wanting
just
to
a
kill a
fella.
babysitter and shit.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
so
on the topic of the evolution of the movies, right? John Carpenter as a director, great, but as a composer, really coming into his own throughout, the 70s, the 80s, because if I'm not mistaken, he did like Escape from New York, Escape from LA, the score for those. He brought his son in for Halloween 2018, and that father-son team is
killed
awesome.
it.
There's a sound in Halloween 2018. I'm like getting goosebumps just thinking about it. When um what's her damn name? I can never remember names. I'm so good at faces I can see her. It's Karen's daughter. Karen's daughter.
Okay,
Yeah. She and Oscar, I think his name was the guy that got by Michael climbing the fence.
yeah,
There's a sound that they made. They drew a bowstring across an electric guitar, and it's just that deep thrumming noise, and it's so good. It sets the tone so perfectly for what is happening. Oh, like literal goosebumps thinking
yeah.
about it. It's so good.
Dude, and like you said, Carpenter bringing his son in, and because I remember watching the behind the scenes on that and seeing him take that violin bow and just it's so. Oh, dude, I was just like, that is fucking epic. Like that's
Oh,
so epic, man. So,
mm.
we've talked about your first horror movie, Jamie, and what that means to you. But now I do want to throw a little curveball at you here for a second.
Oh boy.
I think I know the answer, but my little buddy Ghostface is here, and he has a question for you. What's your favorite scary movie, Jamie? What is your favorite horror movie of all time?
So that's a hard question to answer because I've had different phases of being a horror fan. As a kid, definitely probably Halloween 78 just because it scratches that itch in my brain for, nostalgia and spending time with my family and everything like that.
Yeah.
As of late, I'm torn, right? I've got Halloween 2018 sitting right here. I started getting into A24, so Hereditary, Midsummer. I just got my flower crown
Yes.
done yesterday. So um I it, I don't know if I can give you a straight answer. I honestly don't think I can. I have too many. I have too many
Right.
things that I like. But for like I call it a comfort movie. It's really weird to say that it's a comfort movie, and I don't even consider it horror. It's more of a black comedy. But like American Psycho, you can watch that anytime.
Yeah.
Midsummer, I love watching it with people for their first time. That's like my favorite first time horror movie to
Mhm.
watch with people. It's because the reactions are always all over.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and like you said, there's a wide variety of films there too, and this is what I love about the horror genre. Every movie you just mentioned is horror, but it's all different aspects of what horror is.
I feel
So
so bad. I didn't even mention Saw. Like,
that's what I
because
was waiting for, honestly.
I have a shrine out in the living room. I'll send you a picture of it later on. He built. I got a Trick or Treat Studios Billy,
Yeah,
back in 2020, and every year I dress him up. I put a little Christmas hat on him.
that's awesome. See,
Yeah,
I
but
thought that's what it was gonna be. I totally thought you were gonna
so
say Saw. I was like, all right,
so
here we go.
yeah, so out of the Saw franchise because they do very special place. I was thinking I'm trying to think like slashers keep it on topic, but Saw 2 is probably my favorite Saw movie. I saw Saw X when it was in theaters, and it's a really close runner up for second. But
Yeah,
Saw 2 just does it for me. I don't know what it is. It's suspenseful. It's got twists everywhere. The effects are incredible. Like Shawnee Smith is a fucking trooper, and Tobin Bell fucking kills it every
yeah.
time. Every time. I love Tobin, and seeing him in Saw X, like back in the role. Ooh,
Yeah,
Cool.
Saw X was great. I can't wait for Saw 11. I know Josh isn't writing it, but I'm still excited to see what they can do. So
That's what, next September, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Or no, well,
This
at time of filming next September.
right, but when you're
Who
watching
knows?
it this September,
September 2024.
So, before I let you go, because I've had an amazing time, Jamie, talking to you about your favorite horror movie, your first horror movie, but we always bounce back to the same question. We're going to go back to Halloween 78, and what we're going to do is rank this movie on a skull count. Now, we're not ranking it on acting, production, score, direction, nothing like that. We're not being critics. What we're doing here is ranking this movie on how much it affected you on your first viewing. So, 0 skulls being not effective, 5 being extremely effective. You can use half and quarter skulls anywhere in the middle. Jamie, what would your ranking of Halloween 1978 be?
I feel like giving it a full 5 skulls is
Yeah.
a little much, because there were other things that kind of shaped me. But Halloween's the thing that just threw me right into the deep end. So I think giving it a hearty 4.25, because
Yeah.
it was my exposure to, hey, this is just a guy, and now
Yeah.
he's just gonna do what he does, and no one can stop him, because you can't stop evil, right?
Right.
4.25 feels fair. Four and a
That
quarter feels fair.
and that's a perfect ranking. So, I know I said it at the beginning, guys, but we're at the end of the third act. The credits are about to roll and the curtain's about to drop. But before that happens, I know I said it at the beginning, but make sure you're following Jamie on social media and subscribing so you can check out the streams whenever they're available. And also, like I said, these are things that are going to help not just him, but it helps you too, because you're getting into the mind of someone else that's this much into horror. So, make sure you're doing that. Those links are in the description. Jamie, please don't go anywhere. I got a couple more questions for you. Everybody else, if you also haven't already, please like and subscribe. It does help our channel more than you know. And follow Sledgehammer Horror on social media. Our links are in the description as well. But until next time, keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.